All right. Thoughts on Star Wars? Was it Phantom Menace Episode 1? I believe it's called. I took a picture of the poster, so it's whatever that poster says. This movie's like the title is kind of funny, right? It's a long title. Right off the bat, I liked it. It was a good movie. It's a nice movie. The little kid, so he's like Anakin's a kid, and he's a really young kid. He's like, oh my gosh, maybe it's 5, 6. Like he's a really young kid, but even at his age, he's still too old to be a Jedi technically. And if I'm not mistaken, in the Disney movies, he becomes a villain. And I asked a friend, and the friend said, yeah, he becomes the villain, and it's actually like their fault that that he got trained, and then he was able to like do the evil stuff that he did. Yeah. What I like the racing scene. I like the racing scene in the film. That was my favorite scene by far in the movie. And I like with the racing scene that the Jedi, how do you call about them? Like, what was I thinking? How the engine, I guess the machine, the little cart thing, they run on their own. They can run on themselves, right? You can drive that thing by your own. But if you attach the two engines to it, they're like kind of attaching horses, and then they have like this purple violet like electricity, I guess, that keeps them together, keeps them next to each other, the two engines. You hook up the engines to your racer, and then they can go even faster, right? And then I like that the race is a loop. It's a loop you go around, and so we get some of the same shots with the loop. And there's like Tusken Raiders. I remember hearing about this. I think maybe they did this in the first movie where they would do the races, and the Tusken Raiders would shoot at they'll just randomly take random shots at them and like destroy their racers and stuff, just because, for no reason at all, right? Boredom. And they do that in this film, right? They'll just randomly shoot at them. And they did take out a few. I think they took out like 2 with the racers, or something. One of the guys that was gonna race, his thing stalled on the track along with Anakin's, and Anakin got his to go, right? So he got started on the race, but the other guy, his setup completely combusted altogether. He was just left there. I think some of them probably did die, because they went to a cave system, and one of them blows up in the cave system, so that guy probably died. Yeah, it's violent, it's dangerous, and you can play dirty in this race, because we see the racers, they hit each other, they'll throw things at each other. So this race isn't clean. This race is dirty, is it? It's a dirty race. He gets his freedom that way, and he tries to the master guy. Well, I guess Liam Neeson's character, because I don't even really know what his name was actually. Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's that iconic character, I want to say, and I think he makes an appearance in the Disney movies. He probably does. I don't know. They have a Han Solo. Han Solo? I think it's Han Solo. Han Solo movie, which I'm not sure where that one falls in. And I think it's a Disney Star Wars too, maybe. I don't know. But he what's it called? Liam Neeson's character dies, right? And so he makes that promise. Obi-Wan makes that promise to him. Hey, I'll train him, okay? Promise me you'll train him. He's like, yes, okay. And because that was his master, he even calls him master, and he tells him, like, I know I'm not supposed to disagree with my master. So I mean, I guess you have to have loyalty as a Jedi with your Jedi master, the guy who trains you, basically, because he even says that, like, I know I'm not supposed to, like, disagree with you, because he wasn't on board with the boy either. And there's even a funny line where Liam Neeson's character, before they get the ship built, they win the race, but he's like, well, hang on, something I gotta do real quick first before we leave. I have to go into town and handle some business. And he says, like, I have a feeling you're gonna get another worthless life form, right? You're gonna get another, like, just like, why are you bringing this guy with us, right? But it's the kid, and because he tested the kid's blood, and it's high in like these microorganisms, but I guess they're smart microorganisms that live in, he says, in every living cell. Right. Well, I think what he means by that is not that every being has them, but that certain beings have them, I guess. Certain people have them, and those are the people that get to be Jedis, because they have this organism that lives inside them that can, like, and it talks to you. He says when your mind's clear, they can hear them talking to you. His mom, I wonder if you see his mom again. I should have asked my friends this, because they see Star Wars. They've seen Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned, and so they might have known. Does Anakin see his mom again? I think Anakin slaughters a village of Tusken Raiders. I want to say he does that in one of the movies, and that was like out of character for his character or something. He's the little boy. He's blonde, and it reminds me of Luke Skywalker. But Luke Skywalker's not dead, I don't think, right? But he came from Tatooine, and then the lady says like, "Oh, who's the father?" And she says, "I don't know who the father is. He just like appeared." So then she's like kind of a Virgin Mary, but that has to be a lie. Like it's not a Virgin Mary story, right? She knew who the father, like she must know who the father is, but maybe it's Luke, I guess. I don't know. So now I'm gonna look it up, right? Who's Anakin? Because he has the name Skywalker. He has that surname. So, and I like how they call him Andy. They don't call him. They call him Andy, right? This movie, the way it's structured, I kind of feel like when we go to Tatooine, and that structure of the film, I feel like that movie that can be like its own sort of film in a way, right? That little segment. They go to Naboo, right? And then there's people on the surface of Naboo, and then there's like two. So there's people that live there, right? People, I guess they're natives, and then there's also like this other non-human native intelligent species that also lives on Naboo, but they hate people because they think like people think they're better than us, and they live underwater. They have secret cities underwater, and I like that we get some thick jungle. Like there's scenes where we're in like thick, heavy bush and jungle, but then we also can we get these vast fields of just grass and rolling hills. And I think one of the credits said like Ireland, I want to say. It's mentioned a country's name where they filmed, and it feels appropriate, yeah, that they filmed it in that country, because that kind of resembles the landscape of that country in reality. I like the low rendered grass. Even one of my friends, he mentioned this when that scene came up. He's like, "Oh yeah, the low rendered ground, nice." Because the CGI, right? It's CGI in the film, obviously, but it's an older film, and you can see like the CGI. You can tell, right? It's fake and stuff. It's but I guess it's kind of funny. It's kind of cute seeing it because it's an older film, and so like at the time, I guess it looked okay, but now you see it now, you're like, gosh, that's so fake. It's just so like it looks. You can tell it's planted there. It looks so funny, but it's all good. It makes kind of for a nice experience, I guess, in a way. The vintageness of it, because it's like 2000s old, right? It's not the 1900s old. It's the 2000s old. It's like, oh, whatever the heck. I'm curious actually when this movie was. It says 25 years. Well, actually, maybe it is the 90s, because this movie says 25 years. 25th anniversary. So this movie actually maybe 99. It may be on the cusp of the 2000s, right? Maybe 1999 instead. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith, episode 1. I liked it right off the bat. Any more thoughts? Any more things I liked about it? I can only ever think of the raising scene. The droids are controlled by the ship, right? They're controlled by the ship. And so when Anakin, he goes in the ship unintentionally, and he destroys it unintentionally. But when the whole fucking thing, and when they're flying, actually the guy's flying into the planet, he says it's a ship, but it's a droid controlled ship, right? So there's no humans on this ship, there's only droids on it. Well, actually I think there's 2 of the alien guys that are on the ship, and but that ship is what controls the droids, because it's a droid army. And the droids kind of fall into a unique kind of space on this world, right? Where they're like sentient, because I mean they talk, and they seem to be, kind of aware of their existence, I guess. But then at the same vein, the droids are also sort of just what do you call? They're property, right? You're property of a person, and you can turn them off, and so they're not functioning anymore, and then there's just a hunk of metal, right? And so when that ship is destroyed, all the droids that were say hands up, and hey, hands up, you're under arrest, and then they lose the connection. Oh. They sound like droids too, right? With the noise they make. The names are hard to follow for me. I don't remember any of the names really. But it's a nice film nonetheless. I liked it. Yeah, Star Wars Phantom Menace. It gets fuck it. We give it 5 stars, right? I liked it. I had no gripes with it. Thank you for listening.